Hey everybody, Omar here, the Knife Shark Guy, and I am back with my third and final video for the evening. Another Kershaw discontinued knife for your viewing. This one is the Kershaw Tyrade 1850. This knife was made about 2007. It sports 154 cm steel and CPM D2 steel. There's the date when the knife was made, but it's also the actual date that the knife was released. This knife was, they made the knife for at least a couple of years and they discontinued it. So if we take a look at the knife, it is a huge, big, gigantic, chocolate-looking knife with the carbon fiber on the top and on both sides of the knife. It looks like chocolate icing. I thought that was kind of cool. Also, the way it kind of matches the blade on this part of the knife. Really very interesting. They were doing a lot of interesting artistic things back then, Kershaw. So keep in mind, this was back before they had zero tolerance. You can take a good look and see what kind of capabilities Kershaw was doing and the stuff that they were doing before zero tolerance came out, because they were putting out a lot of interesting high-end pieces. This is definitely one of them. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the specs on these. They don't have a lot of specs, so I'm just going to give you the basics on all the discontinued knives, whatever I can find. So the blade length of this knife is 3.6 inches. The overall length of this knife is 8.75. Closed, the knife is 5 inches long, and it weighs 7.2 ounces. So this knife was made by Ken Onion. It's one of his premier knives at that time. It's just kind of interesting to see where Ken Onion was going back then when he was collaborating with Kershaw. Obviously, he doesn't make stuff like this anymore. We have to assume that once a knife maker has made a knife, they progress and move on to something better. And he actually progressed all the way out of Kershaw, and now he works for CRKT making all their stuff. So, I mean, what's interesting about this knife is just how big it is. I mean, you can actually see the future of zero tolerance in this. I mean, if you weren't looking closely, this could be a zero tolerance knife. I mean, look, it's big, it's beast, it's boldly, right? So you can actually see kind of like the coming of zero tolerance just through this one knife alone. I mean, if you put it up through the, what is it, the knife, the zero tolerance knife they have today? The one that they've released for 2020, I can't even remember it, but the size of that knife kind of mimics the size of this knife, because this knife is big. It's real big. It is a spring-assisted piece. I believe this knife has. I mean, if you look at the spring assist, it kind of comes out kind of sluggish. It's one of those knives where maybe they should have put 2 torsion bars in it instead of just one, because it is a huge, huge knife. It's not. I don't think the spring assist on this knife is as strong as it could have been. But then again, the knife was made back in 2007. Who knows? Maybe spring-assisted knives haven't been well, I'm not going to say well thought out, but there was still more thinking to do about the spring-assisted knife. Because the period, if all you guys remember, the period between, I'm going to say, 2011 and 2013, Kershaw didn't put anything out other than just spring-assisted knives. They didn't have any, they didn't have any washer knives. They didn't have any ball-bearing knives. All they had were just spring-assisted, because that was what was popular at that time. Everybody wanted spring-assisted knives. Kershaw is now moving away from the spring-assisted knives, or at least for a little bit, and they're bringing back ball-bearing knives little by little, so that seems to be where Kershaw's going now. And nobody ever talks about that with a company, when they start doing things and then when they stop doing things and why they stop doing things. It's a possibility that it has a lot to do with us knife buyers and why we don't buy those knives anymore, because somebody wants to see something different, something new. And back in 2007, when Kershaw was at its peak, or believe it or not, they were at their peak, because In 2012, they came out with zero tolerance, and then obviously Kershaw laid back of high-end knives, which they no longer make. Not really. I mean, when was the last time you saw a Kershaw knife with 154 cm on the spine and D2 on the bottom? I mean, it's an interesting combination, and something that I wish Kershaw didn't stop doing, just because they invented another whole company called Zero Tolerance to pay attention to all of our high-end needs. And then when Zero Tolerance came out, what they're doing is they're just moving knives and having them all come out in CB20 steel. Like, they don't care about the other steels anymore. We don't care about the other steels anymore. But yet, Kershaw doesn't exactly put steels out with 154 cm on them, do they? They just don't dabble in a variety of steels anymore like they used to back in back in the day when they made this knife, because they were releasing all kinds of knives and all kinds of steels. That's another reason why a collectible piece like the Tyrade is so important to have if you're going to be a knife collector. So the knife has a G10 backspacer. And if we take a look at this knife, look how thick the titanium is on this. I mean, this is really, really a thick titanium knife. And yet, it's not all as heavy as you would think it would be. 7.2 ounces? I don't know, man. It doesn't feel all that heavy to me. But nevertheless, this is, another knife that Kershaw did way back when. And they were still trying to find out what it was that knife buyers wanted, because don't forget the popularity of knife buying while it was at its peak. What knife companies could make for you was still unknown, and this is one of those knives where they kind of pushed the boundaries again. So just wanted to bring this knife out again and talk about it for a little bit. As you can see, again, it's another Ken Onion knife. Kershaw and Ken Onion were practically married between the period of 1998 all the way up until his departure, 2010. He was the only guy making knives like this for Kershaw. They didn't have very many premier knife makers. A little bit later on, during Kershaw's advancement, they brought out other knife makers like Lee Williams and some other great American knife makers that came out after Ken Onion. And would continue to come out even after Ken Onion left. G&G Hawk, they just had a variety of American knife collaborators at that time. So that's why it's so nice to own some of these collectible pieces, just for that reason alone. They were working with other knife makers. They were putting stuff out in different steel. You were seeing knives made in titanium. Kershaw had yet to be a budget company at that time. They didn't have zero tolerance. I mean, just for that reason alone, you can tell why I own a lot of these knives. I wanted to see what they were doing at that time. So, the Kershaw Tyrade, 1850. If you're lucky enough, you can find one of these on eBay. They go right around like $700, $850. I think I saw one for $1,000 on eBay. The prices for these collectibles, they just keep going up and up and up. So, if you're willing to wait and you've got the patience, just a little thought for all you guys. I think I own a lot of these knives because I actually collected them at a time when, they were discontinued, but they weren't all that hard to find. So I'm really kind of happy to have this and make this one of the safe queens in my collection, just for historic reasons. Like I said, it's kind of funny that I'm into South African customs now. The South African custom is not a safe queen collection. I actually use those knives, but this knife here and all the other Kershaw discontinued knives, this becomes my safe queen collection all of a sudden. Does it make sense? Probably not. But it's always nice to have knives that not a lot of people may have seen or even aware of. And these are all American-made knives. I wanted to have some American-made knives in my collection. Why not pick one of the greatest companies, Kershaw, to do that with? So This is Omar, the Knife Shark Guy, signing off. Just wanted to get a look at my Kershaw Tyrade. Big clunky knife. Definitely a great collector's piece. I will be back with some more Kershaw discontinued knives next week. In the meantime, you guys stay safe, and you have any questions on any of the 3 Kershaw collectible knives that I have, or maybe you're looking to start your own collection, please comment on my channel. I'm starting to notice a lot of people on my channel are commenting, so I want to say thanks to everybody that has been commenting. I am now up to 217 subscribers. Like I said, I plan to get better and better and try not to babble so much. Would like to get up to 1,000 so I can start doing line videos. So maybe you guys will help me do that. If you like my channel, you like my style, and you got a knife that you want me to review, I will be more than happy to review it for you. It will be a full review, not like this, where I just talk about the knife randomly. It will be a full review on the knife, specs, you name it, overall looks on the knife, everything. If you decide to send me your knife, comment me on my channel, and I'll give you my own private email, and we'll talk about it. I do hope someone does send me one of their knives to review. Would definitely love to have your knife on my channel and review it, whatever it is. Yep, so this is Omar, the Knife Shark Guy. I'll see you guys next week with another Kershaw collectible. And I've got some more videos on customer service. Those are going to be kind of important videos for me to do, and I got to make sure I do them. So, Omar, the Knife Shark Guy, signing off, saying hoping you'll find this Kershaw collectible in your collection. Thank you so much for watching. You guys stay safe during this pandemic. Wear a mask and vote. Have a good evening.